This is Wendy, and she cannot be killed. Like, literally unkillable. At least by Poco. And in this video, I'm going to show you why Wendy is one of the wildest brawlers I have seen in a long time. Wendy is the second brawler coming into the update as a brand new mythic support brawler. Now, she may look unassuming, but let me tell you right now, she is a beast. But maybe not how you think. Let's get started with her base abilities. At max level, she has a meager 4,000 hit points, but she's actually one of the tankiest brawlers around because of her shields. In fact, her shielding ability is her calling card. It's what sets her apart from all the other brawlers in the game. She starts every match with a 4,000 hit point shield that does not decay. Let me repeat that, her shield does not decay. So effectively, she has 8,000 hit points, right? Well, actually, it's much more than that because of her main attack. This main attack can serve two functions. If you hit an enemy, it deals 2,200 hit points of damage, or you can shoot it at a teammate and you will give them a 2,000 hit point shield. However, if you use a shot on a teammate to give them a shield, that shield does decay. But also, the shields on your teammates can stack up to 8,000 hit points worth of a shield, which is absolutely mental. But actually, it gets even better because every time she hits an enemy with her main attack, she will gain up to a 1,276 hit point shield. It doesn't heal her, but that shield will be tacked on to what's ever left of her current shield or give her a new one if it's completely down. It is a wild ability that takes her from the squishiest brawler in the game to one of the most tanky. That is, as long as you can hit shots, which actually should be pretty easy to do because it's a very wide shot. And if that's all she could do, I'd be impressed. But it gets even more crazy because she gains the tank trait. When taking damage to her shield, she will charge her super. Basically, if you get through her shield, you'll give her a super. And what does her super do? Well, with her super, you can place down a massive shield area, and when you're inside it and take damage, 75% of that damage will transfer to the shield turret, and you'll only take 25% of that damage. And that turret has 7,000 hit points. Except, you can make it even stronger with her second star power called Solar Shield. With this, it will give that turret an extra 2,000 hit points, making it a 9,000 hit point turret that tanks damage for you and your team as well. This will help you and your teammates, but if you want to hurt the other team, you can use her first star power called Slowing Shield, and it does exactly what the name implies. If an enemy goes within this massive area, they will be slowed. But if you want to restrict their movement even more, her second gadget is called Green Grenade. With this aimable gadget that has a very long range, you can throw it out and any enemy that is hit by it will be slowed, as well as stop them from healing while it's active. So they will move slowly, but if you want to make the moves, then equip her first gadget called Wind Powered. This will allow you to jump over walls, but the cooldown is on the longer side, being 18 seconds. Oh, and not for nothing, but she can move over water too, because why not? So let's get this kicked off against a class that a support brawler has no business winning any matchups at all against: the Assassins. I want you to watch closely with these interactions to see two things. First off, just how well she performs, but also how much health she has left when she wins some of these matchups. Even the ones that she loses, she doesn't get absolutely wiped out. Many of these assassins have to use all of their shots and then wait for reloads just to get through her shields to finish her off. And this should give you a massive clue on just how tanky she really is. It is incredibly deceiving looking at her health bar because it's basically an extra 1,300 hit points back for every shot that she fires. Even Miko, who steals some shots, can't fully break through the shields to get a win. Melody, who deals pretty solid and consistent damage, still loses. Lily, however, is able to poke her enough times to get through those barriers. Ali has a ton of burst damage, yet finds herself standing around waiting for another shot, and she can't find it. Gigi, however, is unrelenting and breaks through with ease. Star Nova is great at a lot of things, but beating Wendy, that's not one of them. Crow loses in horrific fashion. Embarrassing. Leon? Yeah, he can get the job done, and Cordelius does as well, but barely. Kenji's able to heal himself up, and since her DPS is so low, this fight drags on, but in the end, Kenji just squeaks out the win. The other new brawler, Nori, looks like he's gonna lose, but his constant damage gets in one last shot just before Wendy. And then finally we have Kaze, and she wins, but boy oh boy, it ain't by much. So a 7-12 record for a support brawler against the assassins really should be considered a massive victory. Alright, so this is actually a little wild. If you would have told me a support brawler would beat 7 of the assassins and make almost every fight really close, I would have told you you're off your rocker, but yeah, that just happened. Now, Wendy has plenty of faults, as we will see, but survivability is not one of them. However, in a game, I think that you're going to have some very clear openings as an assassin. You'll be able to easily see when her shield is gone, and when it is, there is no stopping you from just tearing her apart. 4,000 hit points is incredibly low, and if she doesn't have the opportunity to build it back up, she's as good as gone. Coming at her with a full shield can work out, but if her teammates are around to help, it might not be a good choice, especially since she can just plop down a shield turret with 9,000 hit points, which means that you're going to have to get through that shield, her shield, and then her health bar too. That's being constantly ticked back up by her shots. That is a recipe for just getting sent straight back to spawn for almost any assassin. Not only that, but she's got gadgets too to get away from you as well. Now you can for sure take her out, but it is not nearly as easy as you would think. And if she can do that to the assassins, how do you think she's going to fare against the controllers? Well, let's find out. So we just watched Wendy put a dent in the assassins, but now she's facing off against much weaker competition. One thing to note when watching these, as it comes up a lot more here, is her reload speed. There are many times where she's just sitting there, slowly waiting for another shot to come back. Her single shot damage is not that bad, but overall, since her reload speed is so dang slow, she has to wait a long time. But even with that deficiency, she's still out here winning a bunch of battles. Once again, thanks to the power of her shields. Now that's not to say that she can't get overpowered, as Mr. P does just that. However, by the time Squeak finally gets through her shields, he is almost gone. Lou's able to completely freeze her, and still can't finish the job. But Otis, yeah, he's just too much. She finished with a full health bar left against Willow, and against Chuck, the match seemed to go on forever. But in the end, Wendy is the one who walks away. Charlie unleashes 5 shots against her and still lost, and it wasn't even close. Finks didn't get his full damage near the end, but would it really have mattered? And Ziggy never even got through her first shield. Wild. Sandy? Okay, bro. Nice try, but not close. But Amber manages to get the job done because Wendy just couldn't get off that last shot. And then finally we have Sirius, who tried. He really did. But it wasn't meant to be, as Wendy cruises to a 14-6 record against the controllers. Now in a game, I think this matchup will actually happen quite often. Controllers going after support brawlers is pretty common, and if they can barely take her down without her super, then it's not going to get much better when she has it. The super range on her shield turret is absolutely crazy, so she can place it in very safe spots and just let it take the brunt of the damage while she's out there being a nuisance. But aside from a few brawlers like Griff, this actually might end up being somewhat of a pillow fight. Wendy doesn't do a lot of damage, and neither do most of the controllers, so it might be a long battle with neither of them hurting each other that awfully much. But a class that does hurt if you get hit by them is the damage dealer, so let's see how they do, because this might get ugly. Now, if I told you there was a support brawler with only 4,000 hit points and they were going to square off toe-to-toe with the damage dealers, you'd probably guess that this support brawler was going to get wiped off the face of the earth real fast. And really, who could blame you? Most support brawlers have no business being this close to the damage dealers and just even being able to last. But in this case, she isn't just lasting, she's winning a ton of these matchups. It's honestly quite wild to watch. This is a matchup that should not work, but with the power of her shields and the way that she can reapply them, it's kind of bizarre to watch. This feels somewhat wrong to see, like it shouldn't be happening. But as we can see against Tara, it very much is, as she walks away the winner. I think that the biggest thing that she's going to have some troubles with when it comes to opponents is really fast and hard-hitting point damage. These brawlers do have a lot of damage, but it's more overall damage, not all at once, and even Clancy can't win. But Lumi takes advantage of just that break, and in turn, breaks Wendy. Mina is known for a lot of damage, but look at that. It's crazy. Naja's never won a match against someone not named Byron, and that's not going to be changing today. Spike goes down very fast, and Surge follows suit and does the same. But then there's Chester. Good old Chester. We can always count on him for a win. 14-6. Again. Against the damage dealers. Like, what world are we living in right now? So yeah, I think that you're probably getting the point by now. It takes a lot of damage to break Wendy. Actually, not just a lot, like top tier elite damage. The kind of damage that most assassins run from. That is what it's going to take, because if not, she's going to build up her shields with a few hits, and you're going to be walking away frustrated that you can't seem to kill this brawler. She might not kill you, but you're going to have a tough time taking her out. Now, Wendy is not the type of brawler that's going to want to run headlong at the damage dealers and try to take them on up close. She's a support brawler. That's not her job, and she won't have to do it. She will be able to put her shields on her teammates, sit back, and just bask in the glory of knowing that she's enabled her teammates to win so many more interactions. But if the damage comes her way hard and fast, like big point damage, she could be in trouble. So you know what, let's make her face that right now against the marksman. As we've seen so far, Wendy can take a lot of damage, but when the damage is coming in this fast, it will finally get through her shield. And once that happens, if she has no shots to reapply the shield, she's a sitting duck. These marksmen are made to do just that, so it's no wonder that we see her taking the L on some of these interactions. That being said, she isn't losing them all. Although, to be fair, that's mainly a function of the marksman having so little health, so it doesn't take many shots to bring them down. And speaking of shields, Mandy's 50% shield is just too much for Wendy and her low DPS. Maisie packs a punch, and with a fourth shot, she wins the round. But poor Angelo, he can only get off one shot before he's gone. Janet, however, gets off 4 shots, but it's still just not enough. And then Pierce, while he puts down some damage, Wendy only needs 3 shots to finish him off, leading to a 7-4 record, which again is a very solid win rate. Now, this is going to be one of her tougher matches in some respects, and also it might be one of her better matchups. While she may have a nice, pretty long range, the marksman normally got her beat there. And again, while 2200 damage per shot is nice, it does not compare to how hard these other brawlers hit. And this is going to be a matchup that you're going to be faced with as well. And if you can't juke a shot here or there, you might be in for a long day. So do your best to judge your range, or else you just might be getting a free ticket back to Spawnsville. It's a real place. I've been there many times. This is a matchup that slightly favors the marksman for sure, but not completely. So how about we just level the playing field and put her up against the other support brawlers? That seems fair. Finally, we get a matchup that should be about as fair as it can be. There are some brawlers that get put in classes that just don't seem to fit, but Wendy is a support brawler through and through, and she belongs here. It's just that she might be the best of the bunch. Not from a damage standpoint, not even as a pure healer because she can't even do that, but in terms of pure support, she is what this class should be. She's never going to be the centerpiece of a team, and she may not even end up being the star player according to the stats. But when she is at her best, she is going to be tough to deal with. Just ask Gray. Even against very tanky brawlers like Doug, she lasts a very long time as they trade blows, but eventually, she succumbs to the damage. Jay Young never even had a remote chance of beating her in this very one-way fight. And it looks like Glowy is just annoying her more than anything, as she is easily able to take him out. And Kit takes 3 shots to the dome, and then one of his 9 lives is gone. So yeah, 9-3. I'd say she very much belongs in this class. Now in a game, I think that she's going to be better than most of the other support brawlers. Again, not in pure damage because let's face it, she does not shine in that department. But when you're able to outlast the competition, really, that's what matters. You see a lot of support brawlers as gem carriers, and I think she is going to be the top of the tier in gem grab. In modes like Bounty, being able to shield her teammates, it's going to be very, very strong. I really like this matchup for her against the support brawlers, but what I don't like is this next one. It's going to be very rough, so buckle up, and Wendy, say hello to the tanks. The one defining characteristic of tanks is that they have a bunch of health, and that does not bode well for Wendy. She may have health as well if we count her shields, but those tanks can just overpower her. You will notice though that she actually lives through many of these tanks' full ammo bar, and they have to go back into the tank for more shots. That's actually a pretty huge deal, as not many brawlers can do that. If she gets off 3 shots, that effectively brings her health up to almost 12,000 hit points to burn through. And that's approaching Frank's level of tankiness. Just having to deal with that much damage to take her out almost instantly removes many brawlers from even trying to come at her. But Ash, yeah, he is not one of those brawlers, as he can for sure take her out, but it was close. Hank does so much damage at the start, but by the time his bubble is back up and ready to go, she already has a full shield back up to stop it. Trunk does a boatload of damage with his ants, and Wendy loses. Bolt is terrorizing the meta right now, but when he has to stop to fight, not so scary. And this fight against Buster is a great demonstration of just how well she handles damage and keeps hanging on for a win. And Ollie actually does less DPS than Wendy, so this is a one-sided affair that does not go his way. The shocking one here is Damien. For as scary as he can be when he has his super, without it, he doesn't put out that much damage. Yeah, Wendy wins this one. And then in the most prolonged fight of the day, Meg and Wendy battle. But it ends up more as a pillow fight because Meg just doesn't have the damage in little form to get a win. However, Draco, yeah, he can and does get it done. So against the tanks, she goes 6-10, her first losing record. But honestly, for a low DPS support brawler, that is pretty darn good. Now in a game, if most of these tanks come charging at you, it's probably not going to end too well. But she has a lot of utility to get away, shield herself, and survive long enough for a tank to find himself in trouble. But you're probably not going to be picking this fight anyway, as it's not a great matchup up close. Of course, you want to stay back, hit them from shots from a distance, and they won't even want to come at you anyway. Unless, of course, you don't have a shield. Then, yeah, watch out. So then, just one last group to go, and it's the weakest of the bunch. How about we just let Wendy pad her stats a bit against the throwers? If Wendy is able to do that well against all the brawlers that have more health and damage than these throwers do, then what you think is going to happen here? Well, yeah, it happens. But in a game, these brawlers will actually rarely face off against each other. The throwers will be far away doing thrower things, and Wendy will be busy shielding her team. However, Wendy can jump over walls, and if that happens, make no mistake, she has the ability to beat these brawlers with ease. It's just not something that I think will happen too often. But yeah, 7-0, no big surprise. And overall, a record of 64-41. For a pure support brawler, that is exceptionally good. So then, you have seen Wendy 1v1 versus every brawler in Brawl Stars. Is she going to be good? The short answer is yes. But really, it depends on what you think that she's going to be. If you're counting on her to carry the team, maybe think again. She's not a carry brawler. Like, if you're looking for a goal scorer, then nope. However, if you want a very good support brawler that is honestly best in class, this very well could be the brawler for you. I think that she's going to be very, very good in gym grab, especially on the more open maps. Bounty, I think that she will do well because she can take so much damage and keep going, as well as providing value to her team. However, Heist is probably not going to be her thing. I mean, it's not to say that it couldn't work with the right team comp. Like, you could shield up some tanks, throw down your turret, and you could just be the best backline player you could think of, but I just wouldn't count on her for too much safe damage. Hot Zone, she's going to be really good. Duos, again, really good. Maybe not as good in Brawl Ball because she just doesn't have the defense, but it could work. Again, really team comp dependent. She is versatile and probably going to be one of the most frustrating brawlers to play against because you just won't be able to get rid of her. Now, I personally don't think that she's the most fun to play. It's just like not my style of brawler, but maybe it is for you. And if you like that role, then she's going to be very, very good. Maybe even OP for what she can do. She is near or at the top for the best in class for support. 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Now go enjoy the update.